All eyes are on the Florida Panhandle. Tropical Storm Claudette closing in. Overnight it gained intensity in the Gulf, and now it's bringing heavy rains and some wind to the region. We'll bring you the very latest as we track this storm inland.
But believe it or not, that's not the only game in town. We also have two other tropical entities. There's Tropical Depression Ana and Tropical Storm Bill. We'll show you when or if these storms will impact the U.S.
And meteorologist Jeff Morrow's live on St. George Island, Florida.
Yeah, guys, Claudette continues to make its way toward the coast with a lot of rain and some wind, too. Surprising wind from this newly formed tropical storm. We'll give you the latest from St. George Island in a live report coming up.
Hello and welcome to PM Edition. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Vivian Brown.
And I'm Nick Walker. The Weather Channel's been tracking Tropical Storm Claudette as the storm moves in on the Florida coast. The video just keeps coming in. We're getting pictures of wind. We're getting pictures of water-covered roadways. If you have pictures, we want to encourage you to send them in. Just make sure you can get them safely. Boy, the surf is pounding here around St. George Island, just to the south of Apalachicola, Florida, on the Florida Panhandle.
And you can see the palm trees are swaying in the area. Here's a look at the local radar. Now, all of that green that you see, the darker the green, the heavier the rain, and certainly the yellows and the reds, that's even more intense rain coming in over the Panhandle of Florida, south of Panama City, but right near the Apalachicola area and St. George Island.
That's where we find our own meteorologist Jeff Morrow has been joined now by Jim Cantori, so we're double teaming it for you out there on St. George Island as they are getting tropical storm force winds plus a lot of horizontal rain.
Exactly. So tell us more about what's going on right now, Jeff, in terms of the deteriorating conditions over an hour ago.
Yeah, it really has pretty much been steady state, if not getting a little worse each hour as we've progressed through the afternoon, and now we're starting to get into the early evening hours with the pretty steady wind of, I'd say, 20 to 25, 30 miles an hour coming off the Gulf. But we have been getting some stronger gusts as some of the squalls go through. We had a wind gust earlier this afternoon, 51 miles an hour there at Apalachicola. Speaking of which, we've also heard of some minor street flooding. In fact, I think we have some eyewitness weather pictures here to show you some of the minor street flooding. We had a report of 2 1/3 inches of rain there in Apalachicola, but that was about an hour and a half to 2 hours ago. And with the rain being fairly steady here and coming down hard at times, I would imagine we're probably upwards of 3, maybe 3.5 inches. And that kind of rain falling in a fairly short period of time is going to cause at least some minor street flooding. And if it keeps coming down, it might even get a bit worse. So be very careful when you're out on the street, that is for sure. Again, as this system continues to come in, the rain is mostly on the east side of where the circulation is, not on the west side. So wherever that center comes in, it's to the east side of that or to the right of it where you're going to get most of the wind like we are here in St. George Island, and you're going to get most of the rain like we just heard about there in Apalachicola. Now, the forecast for the Apalachicola and St. George Island area, it's going to be a pretty rough evening. 20 to 40 mile an hour sustained winds, some gusts, as I mentioned, in some of these squalls upwards of 50, and a wind-driven rain will continue as we head into the early part of the overnight, tapering off as we head toward morning. And then tomorrow, it should be a better day as Claudette, or what's ever left of it, moves inland. We'll get a mixture of clouds, some sunshine, but some thunderstorms will still be around. The wind will be a bit less, though, at about 10 to 20 miles an hour, but still coming off the Gulf. So overall, Claudette, kind of a nuisance, but I would say, guys, more of a reminder to everybody. You know, you probably thought, this isn't going to be much of a sin because we hadn't seen much up to this point. Now, all of a sudden, it's gotten very active. Claudette, a good reminder that we are just getting into the middle of the hurricane season. Back to you.
Starting to ramp things up. Thank you very much. Jeff Morrow reporting live from around the Apalachicola Bay area.
Obviously, we've seen a lot of rain out of Claudette already. It's going to continue to be a big rainmaker. Let's bring in our hurricane expert, Dr. Steve Lyons, now. And Steve, rain, I tell you what, continuing to push northward. Any other effects that we might see from Claudette?
Well, the wave action is going to be relatively small, and that's good news. And the water rise at the coast actually is occurring right at the lowest tide, which is right around 7 p.m., which is good news. Now, what we've got here is basically a south wind that's fairly strong and onshore right here, and nothing else. The east winds over here are relatively weak. The circulation center, as best we can find it, is right here, but it's starting to expand into a broader, weaker low pressure area. That doesn't mean we're not going to continue to have some heavy rain coming in here, but notice a lot of the rain bands well offshore have just sort of fizzled out as the system is slowly but steadily working into a weaker system that's just going to slowly push onshore to the northwest. The good news is up in here it's not even raining in the western Florida panhandle, and in Pensacola the wind was actually calm about an hour and a half ago. So all the stronger winds are right in this area. We can zoom in on it just a little bit and I'll show you what I mean here. First of all, watch out for flooding rain the next 6 hours right in here heading toward Panama City. In the meantime, this is the thing that's starting to open up into a broader, weaker low, we think, over the next 6 hours. Back to you.
All right, we'll continue to watch it. Thank you, Dr. Lyons.
And stay with us. Dr. Greg Forbes joins us next with a look at the flooding impacts from Claudette. Stay with us.